Hello everyone, this is Mark Van de Wettering of the Brainwagon blog. It's blinking light time. I've been working on my Christmas hat project that I've been talking about a little bit. For those of you who haven't tuned in before, I found some battery-powered 99-cent LED Christmas lights at a local CVS, and I thought that was just too cheap to pass up, so I bought a couple strands. And I sort of figured out how they work, and I decided to try to remount them with some improved electronics into a hat so that I would have a hat that would blink and do other sorts of fun things. So there's two strands of lights here, one red and yellow, one blue and green, that the original lights came with, and they're all wired in parallel. They were kind of dim at 3.3 volts. Each strand would draw about 20 milliamps, total about 40 milliamps when both lights are strung. And I didn't think that was quite bright enough, so I decided to see what they would do at 5 volts, and at 5 volts they're definitely both a little brighter. They're kind of actually nice, as you can see from this. So I decided to go ahead and drive them at 5 volts, which means that the current was up to about 120 milliamps, which is a bit much for a microprocessor to drive directly. I was going to use my Atmel ATtiny. So I decided to go ahead and put in some switching transistors to turn them on and off. And as you can see, they're cross-fading now with pulse width modulation. The board that I constructed, I'll turn this little desk lamp on so you can see, is, so here's the circuit that I just built on a piece of perf board from Radio Shack. It's got a 7805 voltage regulator because I'm driving it from a 9-volt supply. So that's there. An ATtiny. There's 2 N3 NO4 switching transistors that I use to key the lights on and off, and a couple of resistors to current limit the switches. The pulse width modulation comes out on pins 5 and 6. There's a switch, just a momentary push button that I've switched onto pin 3 that controls the mode, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's really a simple little circuit. You can see it's not particularly huge. I have lots of leftover space, but I'm really bad at laying things out anyway, so I'm not too unhappy about that. And this is sort of what it looks like. So as I mentioned, I have a push button that provides some kind of user interface for this. You can toggle it into different modes where it blinks all the LEDs on and off, although they don't quite go all the way off. You can toggle between the two strands, the red and yellow strand and the blue and green strand, and you can leave them steady on. So there are all these different modes. The program is actually, the ATtiny only has about 1K of space, which is just 512 instructions. I wrote this using AVR-GCC. It uses about half the available space. I could add some more patterns if I actually thought of any ones that were worth doing. It went together pretty smoothly. When I first got the board set up, I haven't quite got the final jack in place. I cut the LED strand off and mounted it on a little stereo jack so that I could plug it in and out and move it around. I don't have a really great jack for it to plug into, so right now I just have some alligator clips that are clipping onto the edge of the board to toggle it on and off. I hope to fix that. When I first powered it on, one of the strands was working perfectly, the other was not. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I finally found a little tiny solder bridge, which the instant I clicked it off, everything started to work perfectly, which was great because I kind of want to have this project done. So hopefully the next time you see this, this will all be mounted in a nice Santa hat around the edge. These things flip open so you can tuck them in. I'm going to tuck the wire in underneath here and maybe hot glue it, maybe stitch it. I haven't figured that out. Maybe Velcro. And then I'll be able to wear my Santa hat around and it'll be all blinky. I haven't figured out whether I'm going to put this in a, I was thinking maybe I'd just make a little sort of fabric bag to hold this in place. It doesn't seem like mounting it in a Altoids tin, which is another possibility, would really be that great of an idea. But I'll just have to see what I come up with and what I eventually come up with. In the meantime, I hope everybody's having a great holiday. my project seems to be working okay, so hope you have a good evening. This has been Mark Van de Wettering of the Brainwagon blog.